My sister introduced me to her fiance, then I recognized his voice, and honestly, for a few seconds, I genuinely thought my life was about to turn into a nightmare. My younger sister, Hannah, had been dating someone for almost a year. I'd never met him. Every time I visited, he was working. Every time he was free, I was busy. So when Hannah called and told me she was engaged, I was excited. She sounded happier than she'd sounded in years. Then she invited me over to finally meet him. Brew. I showed up with a bottle of wine and a stupid smile on my face. The second she opened the door, she practically dragged me inside. "You're gonna love him." Those were the exact words she used. Then I heard a man's voice from the kitchen. "Is that your brother?" My entire body froze. Not because of what he said, because of how he said it. That voice. Brew. I knew that voice. I hadn't heard it in over 15 years, but I knew it. Then he walked into the living room, and my stomach dropped, because suddenly I remembered everything. His name was Eric now, but when I was 14, he was the older kid everyone in town was scared of. The kid who threatened people for fun, the kid who followed me home from school, the kid who made my life miserable for almost a year, the same kid who eventually got arrested after a violent incident that put someone in the hospital. Bruh. For a second, I couldn't breathe. Then he looked at me, and I knew he recognized me too, because all the color disappeared from his face. Dinner was awful. Hannah talked nonstop while me and Eric barely touched our food. Every time our eyes met, the tension got worse. Then Hannah stepped away to answer a phone call. The second she disappeared into the hallway, I stood up. "I know who you are." Silence. Real silence. Eric looked down, then quietly said, "I know." No denial, no excuses, nothing. Then he said something I wasn't expecting. I told Hannah. My stomach dropped. "What?" He nodded. "Everything." Before I could say another word, Hannah walked back in. One look at us and she knew exactly what happened. Then she said something that completely shattered every assumption I'd made. "Do you think I don't know?" Brew. I stared at her, completely confused. Then she walked into her bedroom and came back holding her phone. She opened a message thread. The very first message Eric ever sent her. Before their first date. Before their first kiss. Before anything. It said, "Before this goes any further, there's something terrible about my past you deserve to know." Silence. Then Hannah looked at me. "He told me everything 3 days after we met." Apparently she'd spent months asking questions, talking to people, verifying everything, trying to figure out whether he was lying, or whether he'd actually changed. Then she quietly said, "The reason I trust him isn't because of who he was." Pause. "It's because he never tried to hide it." That line genuinely hit me, because she was right. The kid I remembered would have buried the truth forever. The man sitting across from me handed it to her before she ever fell in love. Years later, I stood beside my sister at her wedding. And honestly, I still don't like what Eric did when we were kids. I probably never will. But when I watched him struggle through his vows because he couldn't stop crying, I realized something. The boy who terrified me would have never apologized. The man standing in front of me couldn't stop apologizing. And somehow, those were two completely different people.